Johnny Wharff along with Van Arnold, 2017 inductee into the Marietta High School Athletic Hall of Fame, and that event will take place on October 21st back here in Marietta, and we've got Van on the phone, and maybe for our listeners who probably saw your picture or your stride in the paper more than any other athlete back in the 90s, talk a little bit about what you're doing now.
Well, you know what? Actually, at my stage in life, I am definitely working and raising kids. I live near the Washington, D.C. area. I am self-employed. But, you know, I do want to say that athletically speaking, I have decided that I want to train for the old man triathlon. I'm going to do some old man triathlon, try and make Team USA for the people over 40 next year.
Can you imagine my listeners thinking about a 1996 graduate trying out for the old man triathlon? It's kind of funny when I think about it. But I'm gonna stay right here at current, and then we'll kind of backtrack to Marietta High School. So could you talk a little bit? So now you're a family guy, and talk a little bit about your transition from Marietta High School to this, you know, big D1 program at Virginia Tech, and what that was like for you.
Well, I'm going to say that was a real eye-opener. You know, probably the hardest part to that was that, you know, you're at Marietta High School. It's a smaller town. You know, maybe you're a big hit there. You make it to the state level. And then you go to a Division I running program, and all of your teammates have done the exact same thing. So, you know, it's a situation where you're used to being maybe on top. You get a lot of press and stuff in your small town, and all of a sudden you're on a team with a bunch of people just like you. And then you end up going off to races where everybody was, you know, an all-Ohio or an all-state athlete. And it was definitely a big atmosphere and definitely a big adjustment for me.
I don't know that there were any other, at least my research shows that there's no other, you know, all-state cross-country runners. And so if you look at the program as a whole and maybe think about, you know, if, you know, we're back to Marietta High School, talk a little bit about getting into the cross-country program, when you started, and then how you excelled.
Well, you know, I started my running career, I'm going to say in middle school. I think it was a result of the fact that, you know, I told a lot of bad jokes to people. They wanted to beat me up, and then I would just outrun them. I think that's probably how I identified the fact that I could run. But then, you know, if you look at me, for the people that know me, you know, I was 130 pounds in high school. There wasn't really a chance that I was going to amount to much in football or basketball or anything of those, you know, of those levels. It just seemed with the frame and the talent that I have that running was the way to go.
Gosh darn, maybe that's what I should have done, man. I just peaked athletically at 7-year-old T-ball and then just let it go from there. Talk a little bit about influences as you were progressing toward obviously getting a scholarship at Virginia Tech. So those high school, middle school, high school influences.
Sure. You know, I'm going to say that. You know, if I look back, you know, I get the call. Congratulations, you're in the High School Hall of Fame. What does that mean? You know what that really means to me, John, is that I had a lot of great people in my life during my high school athletic career. That's exactly what it means. You have to have a solid foundation. I would say straight up that if these people weren't in my life, that I wouldn't have made it to where I am. I'm kind of the benefactor of all of these other people's efforts, right? And I get to be the one that actually gets to be there. So there's definitely a lot of people that I would have to thank. I definitely want to make sure that I do thank my parents 100% hands down. They built the foundation of the work ethics and morals that I have that got me to the point where I am today.
Now, most of us back here, you know, feel like we've seen you run just because, I remember, you know, you see the picture in the high school when you go in there that's up on the wall. You see, I remember you in the paper, it seems like so much, you know, if you're front page on the sports page, if not the main page above the fold for all your accolades. But none of us really never got to see you run, to be honest with you. We kind of feel like we did. It's not an easy spectator sport, is it?
No, cross country especially. I mean, track maybe a little bit because you can sit up in the stands and watch us run around in circles, right?
Right.
But if you're gonna be a spectator for the sport of cross country, you almost have to be in good shape yourself to get to the the different points of the course where you can do the races.
One or two things that you look back that you were helped by athletically, and I would say, and this is a broad question, so you can go anywhere you want with it, Van. But in terms of being brought up in that athletic role of a cross country track guy, as you relate it to business and or raising these kids as you're a family guy now.
Yeah, the one thing that I probably learned when I was running and I was racing, that if you want to be successful, if you want to be a champion in athletics, if you want to be a champion in life, right, that you have to believe in the comeback. Absolutely a lesson that I learned, because every person in their athletic career, every person in their life, if you're parenting, if you're in business, if you're teaching, what have you, at some point you're going to get knocked down. You're going to get knocked down because life's not fair. You're going to get knocked down because of something that's out of your control. You're going to get knocked down because you made a mistake. And, there's always going to be a pivotal point in your life when you're there. Do you want to quit? Do you want to cry? Or do you want to make a comeback? And, I learned this in running. When you lose races, you go through injuries, pick yourself back up, take the time and the patience to make the comeback, and that's actually something that I practice in life and in business and in parenting.
Most good interviewers would stop right there because that's a heck of an answer to a question, but I do have one more, and maybe it's a selfish question, but when you're running, I think most people that run to get it over with. And I just wonder what kind of thought process that you thought about, or if it changed throughout the years when you were out there.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was racing, the thought process was beat the guy behind me or catch the guys in front of me, right? But when you're training, there's a couple of things that go through your mind. First of all, the peace and the serenity. A lot of people overlook that. My favorite thing about running is when you could get out into the woods and run on trails, run to mountaintops, run to places that other people just couldn't get to. It's very peaceful. You're out there by yourself. But, I do want to mention, too, the other thing that I liked about running is running was a very pure sport. It was very simple. There was no politics involved in it. The bottom line is everybody got on the starting line, and the gun went off, and whoever got back to the starting line first was the best. There were no participation trophies. There were no arguments. It was clear and, straightforward, right?
That's fantastic. I appreciate your insights. It's great to talk to you again, and we look forward to having you back in town this fall, and congratulations once again.
Yes, thank you, John, and I look forward to seeing you on October 21st, all right?
All righty. Van Arnold, Virginia Tech graduate and now inductee into the Marietta High School Athletic Hall of Fame, coming up on October 21st.